So, a company that I've never heard of before called iKKOLOT reached out to me and asked me to check out two of their Bluetooth speakers. We're going to be checking them out today. We got both boxes right here. One is a very small portable speaker, and the other is a very unique looking split speaker that works in stereo. Now, I think one of the biggest benefits of these speakers is their appearance and their looks, as well as the packaging is actually pretty nice as well. So let's go ahead and quickly jump into an unboxing. So let's go ahead and open up the ITS01 first. So the box outside really doesn't have much to say about it. Basically just talks about the company, where it's coming from. And we have the ITS01 brown. But if you open it up, you see here we get a little carrying bag, which is nice, a little drawstring carrying bag. And then you have the speaker. And it's got one of those really cool looking, polygon style mesh covers here. It is quite small. You can see here, it's a pretty small speaker. It's got this leather strap here, which is nice. And again, we have the brown one for the USB here. Come on, there we go. It is unfortunately micro USB, so wish that could be USB-C. That kind of dates this a little bit. And it's got a power output of only 3 watts, so not a very powerful speaker. Inside here we also have the little manual, and we've got micro USB USB cable. Now for the ITS02, you get a much larger box. Obviously it's a much larger product. Kind of shows a cool little like 8-bit style version of it there. It does give you a little bit more information on this box. So this is also a 3-watt speaker, even though it's much larger. It says 5 watts here. It says 3 watts here. Not sure. I can't read that, so I don't know what that's saying. We'll open it up and we'll take a look though. But this one also has one of those fold open boxes, which I think is really nice for presentation. It's got magnets on the inside here. And if we open that up, we have our manual, and we have our speakers. And just like with the ITS01, they have a very unique look to them. Kind of have this retro 50s style on these. And they actually go together to create one speaker, or they split apart to create 2 speakers. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. The speakers, the magnets aren't very strong, so it's very easy to accidentally knock one or pull it apart. So always make sure that you're holding both of them. We get an auxiliary cable and unfortunately only one USB cable. Because if we look at the device here, each has its own micro USB charging port and its own auxiliary port. Because you can use these entirely on their own as well. They don't have to be paired together. But it is unfortunate that you don't have a singular charging and then it like passes the power between both. But yeah. I mean, design-wise, it's very unique and very cool looking. You have the diaphragms on the back, which actually is pretty nice. Hopefully that means they'll have a little bit more bass. And we have the volume knobs up here, which are also power buttons. So, I mean, this one's pretty cool looking. I like it. It looks nice as a stereo, and it also looks pretty cool as its own little unique things. But as you can see here, visually, these are very different Bluetooth speakers. They don't look like the black boxes that most other ones do, and I think that's pretty cool. So getting the Bluetooth set up on both of these is actually relatively easy. The ITS01 is very straightforward. It walks it through pretty straightforward in the manual, and very quick to do. The nice thing is both devices actually show you the battery, which is very beneficial as well. The ITS02 is a little bit more finicky because if you want to use them in stereo mode, you have to turn them both on at the same time. If you turn on one and then turn on the other, it will try to pair them as separate devices, so keep that in mind. But they also show the battery percentage, which is awesome. So what we're going to end up doing is doing some sound tests. Now, I'm going to be doing sound tests just looking at the devices themselves and kind of seeing how they sound. And then afterwards, we're going to compare them against some other speakers that I have that are relatively similar in pricing. So for the ITS01, we're going to be comparing it to my Tribit Stormbox Micro. I've been using this quite a bit. I really like it. And then for the ITS02, the only stereo speaker that I do have is an old Anker one. But when it was around and available for purchase, it was about the same price. So we will be comparing it to that as well. And just kind of looking at the sound quality of these compared to something in its price bracket. So as you can hear in those sound clips for the ITS01, it sounds very flat. It sounds a little bit muddy. It doesn't have a lot of fullness to it, unfortunately. And it does have that really weird staticky noise. It's much more apparent at 100%. And even when you pause the music, that static continues on for about a second or two until cutting off. So I think that's an issue with power delivery to the driver. It's just providing a lot of static there. It is still audible at 50%, just not nearly as noticeable as when it's at 100%, but it does, I think it really does significantly affect the quality. Everything sounds like it has a little bit of static in the background. When you compare that to the Stormbox Micro, the Stormbox is a lot more full. It's got a lot more bass to it. I feel like it's just a lot clearer in terms of the sound. And obviously for sound quality, I would probably choose the Stormbox over the ITS01. Now for the ITS02, at 50%, it is pretty quiet, especially when you compare it to the Anker speaker. And that is with the speakers themselves turned up to 100%. So a lot of the speakers just with the up and down, so the Anker and the Tribit Stormbox Micro, if you use the up and down volume buttons on the speakers, they just adjust the volume of your phone. They don't actually have their own individual volume control. The ITS02, however, those knobs on the top are individual, and I had those put to 100% for the test because that's how the other speakers are basically operating. They're always operating at 100%. When the phone volume was at 50%, The ITS02s were very, very quiet compared to the Anker. And again, they didn't sound very full. Considering the size of the drivers on the back, the diaphragms, it did not have a lot of bass. And again, it just didn't seem very full or clear when you compared it to the Anker, which had a lot more bass to it, a lot more fullness to it, a lot more clarity, and was just a much more pleasant listening experience. Now, again, the Anker can't separate speakers like the ITS02 can, but I don't really think that makes up for the lack of sound quality overall. With that in mind, let's quickly go over some things I like, some things that I don't like about each of these speakers. For the ITS01, I mean, I think it looks great. I think it has a very unique design to it. It doesn't follow the mold of just having plain black boxes, which is nice. A lot of the other brands are starting to add a lot more color and stuff, especially to the portable ones that you bring around with you. So, keep that in mind. There are quite a few options, though, in this price range that will probably have quite a bit more quality. The Tribit Stormbox Micro is great. It has a lot more features. It's waterproof, dust proof. It's got a much larger battery, and it sounds a lot better. And there are other options from both JBL and Anker themselves that are about the same price that have those waterproof features as well, and have better sound quality. This does, however, have a very unique design to it, and if you do like how it looks, then this is really the only option for something that's, has that polygon look to it with a leather strap, and just looks very unique compared to the rest of the offerings. Now for the ITS02, same kind of story in terms of the sound quality being its biggest weak point. At its price, you can get a much, much better sounding speaker. You're unlikely to find one that does a full split. And even getting two of the smaller speakers that you're able to pair in tandem together at $70 combined for both of them is going to be a little bit difficult. You're usually going to be looking around maybe $100, $50 per speaker if you want to do that. But I don't think that feature makes up for the lack of sound quality, because if sound is your main priority, I don't think this is going to be the product for you. But if looks are our main priority, I think this is a very unique looking speaker. It's got that 50s vibe to it. Overall, the build quality is very good. I'm very impressed with the overall build quality of these things, both speakers really. But the sound quality is going to be the biggest lacking one. But these are something that can look nice, and if you aren't too big on sound quality and you just want something to kind of play some little bit of background music, these aren't a terrible option. So my overall conclusion is, if sound quality is of utmost importance to you in terms of buying a Bluetooth speaker, these are unfortunately not going to be the option for you. Hopefully in the future, iKKOLOT can improve the sound quality of these speakers, get rid of some of the issues like I mentioned with the ITS01, and kind of focus a little bit more on the sound quality of these, because I feel like that's the biggest lacking point. Visually, I think they look great. Build quality, I think they feel really good. I've been using them for about a week and a half now, 2 weeks. Trying to use them daily. And build quality, they've done a great job. So, if you do like the looks, they're a great option. If you are prioritizing sound, I would avoid these right now. And then again, like I mentioned, hopefully iKKOLOT in the future can improve the sound quality of these to have that sound kind of match the level of the visual quality of these products. So I actually ended up doing some looking into the company, and iKKOLOT is actually a sub-brand of iKKO. If I'm pronouncing that correctly, still I don't know. And supposedly they make some really good IEM earbuds. So, the OH10s, I believe, are extremely popular. I think even Zeos covers them, which is pretty cool, and gave them a pretty well-rounded review. So that does give me a little bit of confidence that hopefully with the feedback that I'm giving on these products, they can end up improving the sound quality of them for the next iteration or a new product that they release. And again, hopefully bring up that audio quality to the same level that the visual quality is, in my opinion. If you are interested in picking up these speakers, I will leave links down in my description down below. You can go ahead and check them out. I believe both of them right now do have a 10% off coupon on Amazon, so you can utilize that as well and get them for a little bit cheaper. But I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you liked, subscribed. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, or suggestions for other speakers you'd like me to check out, let me know down in the description below, and I'll be happy to reply to each and every one of them. Big thanks to my Patreon sponsors, Thought Slime and Stepback, and thank you for watching the end of this video. If you want to see any of my other product reviews or first impressions, you can go ahead and check out this playlist right here. And as always, stay safe out there. I'll see you next Saturday.